What is going on, everybody? My name is Conor Lawler. Welcome back to another week of the Heroes for Hire podcast. We are back again with another episode of Hero or Zero. This is the show where we choose one comic book character every single week. We talk to good points and their bad points, so we generally just give you a bit of a rundown of everything to do with that character. I am joined as always by my best pal, Mr. Shaun Meighan. Shaun, how's it going?
Going pretty good, Conor. It's getting warm in this room, though, I'll be honest. The sun came out. I'm about to bake.
I'm slowly cooking you, and I'm hoping that eventually you'll come up with like some really good takes, really interesting insights.
When are you expecting that to happen?
A few more degrees.
A few more decades, maybe.
So this is the show. Shaun, you normally do Marvel characters. I normally cover DC characters. So like, you know, Batman, Superman, all those losers. But we don't really cover the big characters. We cover the characters that maybe you haven't heard of.
That the real news is too afraid to talk about.
I don't think that's an intro for something else. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, so this week is a recommendation from one of our listeners, one of our favourite legends, Mr. Kieran. He said this in a little while ago, so we're trying to work our way through the list. Now, this sounds like complaining in saying we have so many recommendations from you guys who are all legends who send them in to us that we can't get to them until like weeks afterwards. But there was many months of this show where nobody listened. Yeah. So the idea that people are sending us ideas, it sounds like I'm complaining. But I'm not really complaining.
It's fantastic. But we can only do one a week.
And we have to alternate.
Yeah, so those lists build up really quickly. But we'll get there.
But we want to thank everyone for sending in all your recommendations. If you have sent one in, it will be done. I just need to we're just figuring our way out through them. But yeah, if this is your first episode, you don't have to do anything. Just chill out. If it's your second or above, we'd really appreciate 5 stars, a like, a follow, a share. Spotify 5 stars I mentioned, I mean, they're going up every single week. That's absolutely legendary to see. It's so great. And if you want to leave a comment, I mean, that would be That's true, like, legendary status shot.
Yeah, Spotify's actually been really good with comments lately. Like, people are commenting on most episodes. It's really, really fun. And also, Spotify changed how to do it, so we can like comments and shit now as well.
Oh, let's like none of them. Let's neg them.
I've been liking all of them because they're my friends.
Unlike them.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I want them to earn it. So, Shaun, I'm going to try and get into this. Now, this, as we said, it's a recommendation from Kieran, and he wanted me to talk about a Jack Kirby character from the 70s.
Oh God.
Otherwise known as Mr. Miracle, Shaun.
I fucking knew it'd be Mr. Miracle. Fuck's sake. Conor, we have a hard out today.
Look, I did, upon doing the report, like, we have a lot of characters in our heads that we're like, I don't want to touch them because it takes so long to do the backstory. How the fuck, by the time we're done that, it's like, we're up to 50 minutes, and then what is the point of this short form episode? But Mr. Miracle nearly took it out of me. I'm at about 9 to 10 pages. Normally, on average, about maybe 4, 5 if we're lucky. But there's a lot of pages here. It's Jack Kirby in the 70s, so you know it's insane. And it's a lot of new God stuff that I'm going to have to introduce, try and explain, and then we move on.
That's fine. And we can get through it together, folks. I'm on board. I'm going to be receptive to all of this. We have sent
through hundreds of your mad reports, right?
Yeah.
Where you include batshit shit stuff that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
so I'm
and
allowed
watch me be a supportive friend for your one, Conor. How about that?
Well, you're a better man than me because I would tear you apart.
If you delivered this report.
Oh, you'd be fucked, bro. Mr. Miracle might be the most Kirby-esque character to make it into the DC mainstream continuity, Shaun. So there are other new gods that have joined the Justice League, most notably his wife, Big Barda, who Mr. Miracle and Big Barda are like true couple goals in comic books, just pure legendary. Just as a couple, they're just unbreakable. And I really love them because they are both gods and also just kind of want to chill out a lot and do nothing.
They kind of just want to just be a married couple and live their lives. But
and just live in the suburbs. And then people are like, oh, you have the ultimate power, we could use you. Apocalypse is nearly here, or, Darkseid, and he wants to take over the world again. Oh, no, we need to get you involved. And they're like, yeah, but our kids have got to go to school tomorrow. Like, it's a whole thing, man. So they might be... They're pretty big, they're gods, and they joined the Justice League. But none of them... There's lots of gods that have joined the Justice League, but none of them have maintained a steady, humanising presence on Earth, kind of like Mr. Miracle has, along with Big Barda. For a lot of people, Mr. Miracle represents a real, outlier character in DC. He's not exactly mainstream, and trying to explain him, I wrote this down, trying to explain him to any newcomer requires you to sit them down and explain the entire fourth world. Which, if you don't know what the fourth world is, it's a whole world created by Jack Kirby, including all of the gods, the new gods, the Apocalypse and Darkseid, and it's...
I've been getting shit for 6 years about the Eternals. Yeah. And he's got a whole world he made up.
It's Jack Kirby. Okay, leave me alone.
Say no more.
This man is a legendary comic book writer, but also at the same time, he liked this shit mad, right? The idea came about, actually, he was writing Thor for Marvel in the 60s, I think. And then he came up with the idea of, why don't we just come up with our own gods in comic books, and I'll do it in DC.
Yeah, because he couldn't. This is around the time he left Marvel because of creative differences, right? And he came over.
Yeah,
to DC.
so this was Mr. Miracle came about in April 1971.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, this is hot off the trails of everything he liked 60s. And created had been taken away from him. Cool.
Yeah. The sort of complex and insular storytelling isn't an easy sell, really, to a lot of people. It's very hard to pitch this to anybody. You kind of have to be in, and if you're not in, then it's not really for you, and that's fine. But Mr. Miracle kind of stands out as the best character created in this world. There's lots of characters. I would say Mr. Miracle and Big Bard are probably the two best ones. And he represented a pedigree of creative innovation and complex long-term storytelling that most heroes almost never reach. So he was one of the 3 comic book series created by Jack Kirby when he kind of seen the decline of some sales in comic books, and he basically prophetically predicted the rise of graphic novels and was just like, let's just start doing these ahead of everybody else.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. And within this, he introduced the Forever People, the New Gods, Mr. Miracle, a whole batch of this whole fourth world where all these gods were just fighting amongst themselves.
So it's you don't have to worry about how does Batman deal with the fact that this god war is going on. It's just its own contained thing.
No, it's like Darkseid and all of these with Granny Goodness as well. If you've watched Justice or Young Justice, it's just all of this stuff is happening completely separate.
Right.
And so Batman's fighting the Riddler, and simultaneously Darkseid is conquering universes across the way, but the new gods are trying to stop him.
Okay, that's okay. That makes sense. You've explained that well, Connor.
Thank you. I'm really struggling here. And so I want to get into Mr. Miracle, otherwise known as Scott Free is his name. Now,
great name.
Mr. Miracle does not actually have a name. We never find out his literal name. Scott Free is the name that was given to him by Granny Goodness while he was in captivity. Okay, we're going to get into that. So, Scott Free has basically the worst childhood I think I could find in any comic book, in that he's born to the ruler of an elder god of New Genesis, right? So his dad is the ruler of New Genesis. And his dad's planet, he's the leader of New Genesis, in a fight with Darkseid. Darkseid wants to kill everyone there, and not a nice man. And so Darkseid comes down to New Genesis with all of his army, tries to take over.
It's like Dragon Ball Z.
Yes, right? And Scott's dad, Isaiah, he fights off Darkseid with all of his army. However, Isaiah is left for dead on the battlefield at one point, and he's found by a nurse called Vela, who finds him and nurses him back to health. Isaiah stays with her, and until he's well enough to return to the war with Apocalypse, which is Darkseid's whole. They're all just called Apocalypse, right? There's just his crew, the gang, right? The boys,
the
lads, if you will, right? And so Vela, however, at this point she's pregnant, and so she's carrying Scott, and Isaiah's like, I'm going to go fight Darkseid, and I'm going to get him off our planet. And it's at this point that Isaiah goes out and he realises that he's never ever going to be getting peace if he's fighting Darkseid, because Darkseid will not stop.
Right, so he's born basically to just always fight Darkseid. Like, that's his life.
No, so Isaiah's his dad. So his dad realises this. And so his dad basically decides that he needs to create a truce between him and Darkseid and be like, leave us alone. Okay. And so Darkseid comes up with one completely fucked up idea that he will not budge, and that's the only deal he's getting. And the deal is, you give me your son, and I'll give you my son, and we'll swap sons.
The age-old hostage situation.
And so, but Darkseid's thing is, we will have a truce for as long as your son is on Apocalypse. Okay? But Darkseid knows that his son's going to grow up and is going to leave Apocalypse, and the minute he does, the truce is broken, and then Darkseid can just destroy the whole planet anyway.
Yeah, so, but Isaiah agrees to this.
Yeah, because there's no other option. Like,
I guess,
he's like getting an extra 20 years out of it. He's like, okay.
He gets to sleep for a couple of weeks.
He gets to sleep for 20 more years before his son fucks it up. But now he doesn't realise. He's like, well, if my son goes there, he might be brainwashed and then he won't leave. But Darkseid is like, nah, he's definitely going to leave. And then the truce is broken and the peace agreement is finished. And then I can just come back here and fuck everybody up. And so they agree to it. And so Isaiah's son, otherwise known as Scott Free now, because Granny Goodness names him that, he basically gets sent to hell. There's no other real better way to do it. He gets sent to hell.
Like the worst planet in the world, probably.
Worst planet in the world, and he's a prisoner there. And Darkseid oversees the child's destiny. And he just gets trained from the minute he's born, or from the minute he arrives. He's mockingly named Scott Free, because obviously he's the biggest prisoner there. He's
a prisoner, yeah.
Yeah. And the orphanage that he was meant to be part of is just a prison where they're indoctrinated into unquestionable obedience and trained to fight and die for Darkseid. So he gets sent to an internment camp, basically.
Yeah, and he's a child at this point.
He's like 6 months old when he gets sent there. Yeah.
They're going to make him into Bane.
So he gets sent there. So, like all young men, Scott Free's also shaved, completely bald, no individuality. He's fed blocks of food that contain mind-numbing substances, so they all just bow down to Darkseid. The army's made up of children that Darkseid has gotten from taking over different planets.
So Darkseid's the bad guy?
He's on the fence at the minute.
Is he now?
It's just like he might come around. He saves an old lady at one point, but he kills her planet.
He's like Deadpool. He's an anti-hero.
Very similar to Deadpool. He like saves a little baby. Like he pushes the stroller like off the road. He's like, "Get somebody save that baby!" But simultaneously, I will destroy the planet. So. Swings and roundabouts.
Saved that baby that one time.
You saved the baby before I blew them up. But however, Scott's trials and punishments were doubled because of his lineage. So he gets double the punishment of everybody else.
Does he understand that? Does he know who his dad is? So they make sure it's like, your dad gave you up.
This is because of who you were sent here from.
That's hilarious.
But he responds with even more resilience, because the more they tell him, the more resilient he becomes. And he's like, I'm not bowing down. I just won't. Right?
Okay, so his life is a living hell every day.
He's exceptionally skilled in combat and demonstrated superior agility, and he just becomes like the greatest fighter there. He becomes like a human weapon of all forms.
Because he just fucking hates him.
He just hates everything there, and he just like, because they'll just send him to fighting class all day and get the shit kicked out of him, but then eventually he was like, oh, now nobody can defeat me. I am the best.
Yeah. I've been killed. I've been hurt in every way possible, so now I know how to avoid being hurt.
Exactly. He finds out he's a natural in escaping situations. So he routinely escapes his quarters that he's trapped in on Apocalypse and just explores, but he can't go any further. But he's able to just get out of anything to do. So he's the greatest escape artist. However, sometime during his adolescence, Scott unexpectedly discovers his god power, Shaun, because on one of his outings, he came upon a city of hunger dogs. Darkseid's dog soldiers attacks them, or they attack him, and Scott cries out, "Stop!" incredibly loudly. Everyone in the vicinity died immediately.
What?
Yes.
What?
That is the power of the anti-life equation, which Scott has full control over.
Wait, how?
So, it's basically Darkseid's whole thing in comic books is he wants to find the anti-life equation, like Thanos with the stones.
Or
so
Zack Snyder's Justice League.
The same thing, right? He wants to find the anti-life equation, and the anti-life equation, the idea is that if you control that, then you control any living being, because you have command over all living things, because they will just do exactly what you say.
Yeah, it's like space has matter and antimatter, and antimatter can destroy matter. So whatever Scott's lineage is from the new gods, he has control over the anti-life equation, which is why Darkseid was trying to take over his planet and kill his dad and all. But he just has that just built in him. He never learned or studied it.
No, it's just in him.
Wild.
And so he shouts stop and everybody dies. And Scott does not speak for months afterwards, which angers Granny Goodness even more, because they're like, now we can use you, and he's like, no, I'm not going to talk.
Yeah,
like,
that's great.
Scott used her punishments to forge in himself the discipline that he needed to speak without invoking the equation. Every year thereafter, he returns to the site of the deaths to leave flowers in memoriam to all the people that he killed accidentally, not knowing.
Fuck. Because he's like, yeah, I didn't... That's wild. So he wasn't speaking for ages in case the anti-life equation was still just kicking about in his head.
Yeah.
And he had to learn how to not be unstoppable.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
His prowess is noticed by a rebel leader called Hjelmroos, who's a genius and an escape artist. And he tutors young people in the art of building their own mother boxes, Shaun. So which is another Zack Snyder thingamajig. That's very good. It's a sentient computer, basically, that works and connects to like the source of life. It's a whole thing. It's Jack
whatever
Kirby's,
the story needs to be.
Jack Kirby's doing all mad shit here, right? It's just the fucking box, right?
Mad thing to put in the 70s, though. Like
he just this is real deep stuff. And while he's there and he's being taught about all this, his quarters are discovered by a young woman warrior called Barda.
Now you mentioned Barda.
I did. So she's a lieutenant in the Female Furies, and she's on a separate mission. She just kind of comes across. They have like the meet cute, but they like walk past each other and they like make eyes. Like, interested, right? And so the incident led to a mob scene, and Hjelmroos was exposed and captured. And so when Barda shows up, then Darkseid finds out where this like rebel leader is living, sends the army there. Scott and Barda are basically about to like get killed, and at the last second thing, Scott mustered all of his strength and he leapt into a boom tube that Barda had set up. So two things happen there. One, he escapes, and two, Darkseid lets him escape, because now the peace agreement is broken.
So he gets what he wanted. So now he can go back to attacking his planet.
Yeah, now we can kill everyone. It's fine.
Jesus. And it only took 20 years.
Yeah. And he went through the boom tube. He lands on Earth in 1802 in England. and he actually marries a woman called Francine Goodbody, and they are married for 50 years, and they have to keep moving town because he doesn't age. And she obviously ages. So by the end of it, she's his granny living in like a town. That's their story.
That's a cool story beat that I really like. Like a character who just has to keep lying and making up new identities.
Yeah, and like...
Does he look like a regular man?
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense.
So by the turn of the century, Scott had taken up residence in Kansas. So he'd moved from England to Kansas, so he's just always moving around. And he kind of appreciated more the mortality of humans at this point because of, like, he had been with Francine. And so, like, he had felt love, Shaun, you know, if we're going to get real deep.
I wonder what that's like.
You never will. And he basically kind of comes out and says the only person he wants is Barda, even though he met her once, like centuries ago.
Just brushed past her one time.
He's locked in on one woman. And so many decades later, he comes across an escape artist, otherwise known as Thaddeus Browne, aka Mr. Miracle.
That's his name.
While rehearsing his act, Darkseid attacks Browne and Scott helps fight them off. Afterwards, he goes to live with Browne and he becomes his apprentice. Funny story about Thaddeus Browne, Mr. Miracle. He is, I'm pretty sure, canonically the guy who trains Batman in escaping things.
That's mad. Any relation to Stephanie Browne or anyone like that?
I don't know relation to Stephanie Browne, but he is he dies basically right after this, but he does appear in a comic book later on in like a Batman comic book, so I think canonically he is the guy to train them to escape things.
That makes a lot of sense, but Scott is already a very good escape artist anyway, right?
Yes, and now he's met the greatest escape artist on Earth, and he's being taught to be like him. During a practice, Browne is actually shot and killed by a local gang, so Scott takes over as Mr. Miracle number 2.
Is this where he gets the suit and stuff like that?
He gets the suit here, yeah.
Love the red and yellow, or green and yellow suit of Mr. Miracle.
It's also at this point that he realises that he's also using his mother box that he has to escape more and more daring things. So, like, the situations he's in, because he's basically immortal and a god anyway, that he now has all of these skills, it's kind of this weird combination that it does not matter what situation he's in. He could be asleep and he would escape things because subconsciously his body will just escape. So his magic act gets more and more like elaborate because they're just like, well, he could just escape anything.
He can't just be taking off handcuffs blindfolded. Like, he needs...
No, it's pointless.
Actual death-defying stuff.
Like, you need to put, like, a massive weight on his foot, put him down to the bottom of the ocean, and, like, tie him up completely, and he'll still be out in, like, 4 seconds.
Yeah, you need to encase him in cement and throw him into a volcano.
because he also has the mother box thing, so that just, like, escapes most things as well, because that's a doohickey that they can just use for any situation.
Yeah. So is he ever found out as an alien? That might come up later in the story.
I think... Oberyn, who is now his assistant and his manager, he knows about him, and Oberyn's always just like, yeah, let's go. Oberyn's all about money. So he's let's get even more in debt. We can make shit tons of money if we just do this around the country.
Because you can't die.
You can't die, basically. However, Granny Goodness and all the lads on Apocalypse keep sending people to try and kill him, even on Earth. And so Granny sends a guy called Dr. Bedlam, and Dr. Bedlam shows up, tries to kill everyone, but lo and behold, Big Barda arrives and helps fight off all of Dr. Bedlam and all of his goons, and suddenly Big Barda doesn't want to go back, and she's like, I want to stick around. They haven't seen each other in centuries, but Big Barda promptly takes up residence with Scott and Oberyn in their house, and it's just like, yeah, let's all live on Earth together.
So, yeah, I had a great time the one time we hung out.
Yeah, centuries ago. They're just like, the two of them immediately, no questions. They're just we're together.
They're just meant to be.
Yeah. Scott concluded the only way to reach a truce with his enemies was to return and win his freedom fairly, because Apocalypse is going to keep sending people to try and kill him.
Under the justification that, he's an escaped prisoner.
Exactly. So on Apocalypse, he and Barda turn up. They go to Apocalypse and they're like, where the fuck is Darkseid? We're going to fucking fight for our freedom here. And so he shows up and he requests a trial by combat for his life. They're only too happy. Granny escorts him to Sanction Zero, where he faces a creature called the Lump, which is good name, I think.
Good name? Is it just a big lump?
Just a big lump. Barda arrives and she's about to like kick in because it looks like he's about to lose. Instead, he emerges, defeating the lump by showing the monster, and just like completely wins his freedom. Now Darkseid no longer owns him, and he's like, I'm in charge.
It's like, cool, I'm going home.
Fuck all y'all, I'm going home. And I mean, what actually comes across then is that his god power is like a birthright. Basically, he finds out that he has all of the powers that people constantly want, but he just never uses them because he doesn't want to.
Yeah. He doesn't have dreams of like conquering or anything like that. He just wants to live his fucking life. Yeah,
he has all the powers of a mother box and all the powers of like a god, but like he has no need to use them. He just runs a magic show.
And he's happy. He's
grand. Doesn't worry about it. And he then actually goes back to his own home planet and he meets with his dad, and his dad tells him he's not allowed to go back to Earth. To which his response is, I relinquish my citizenship of New Genesis, and he renounces his allegiance to the whole planet.
Fucking
and it's just like, I'm going off to Earth with my wife, fuck you.
Yeah, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be you. You gave
I don't want to be part of any of this. So that was the initial Mr. Miracle series, and it got cancelled after 26 issues. But really like strong, like weird stuff to get into, lots of big ideas. But the character was loved so much that they kind of brought him then into the Justice League, because it's a very big character with like very big potential. So it's it is hard to narrow him into like he's part of the Justice League and he's on the same team as Batman, because I mean,
yeah, there's two ways of looking at that. In one, it makes Batman look weak, or it makes Batman look really strong. Either
that they're on the same team.
Yeah. Like everyone earns their place there, and he's kind of seeing him play off of like Superman and Martian Manhunter and Wonder Woman. Like they're all quite powerful characters, so it puts it all in context.
So he joins, and however, immediately he kind of bristled at Guy Gardner's immaturity, Batman's gruff leadership style. He contemplated quitting lots of times. All he really wanted was a quiet life in the suburbs of Barda. But they kept being like, we need you. There's like another worldwide travesty happening.
And you can save the entire world, so...
When I don't want to. Regardless, he soldiered through, and he became an indispensable part of the League's day-to-day operations. He's kind of like a gadget guru as well. He supports the League's technical, security and transportation needs. However, Barda and Scott eventually wanted even more quiet life. They move out of New York to New Hampshire, and they're just like, we're going to live in a house where nobody can disturb us. And he sets up a new business called Freeze Fix-It Shop, and he has no desire to perform. His Justice League adventures provided sufficient drama every now and then when they called him in, but otherwise he just kind of had a little store that he set up.
That's great. And he just lives his little life in the suburbs.
Yeah. However, Oberyn, his manager, accidentally discovers that Scott has invented a chemical cleaner with an almost magical power. And there's a whole storyline in which Oberyn sends him on a mass media tour pitching his magical power cleaner, which he calls Miracle Mister.
Was like TV shopping very big at the time? Because that's what it sounds like.
But he even sends him to space on the press tour.
Why? He's from space.
To go around the planet selling it.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's so silly. But unfortunately...
It's just such a weird, like, he was killing Darkseid. and then now he's selling carpet
So
cleaner.
he goes for years being like this, just like really comedy, chill character. However, finally in Mr. Miracle Volume 3, he's finally forced to undergo the ritual to claim his god power that he's been basically rejecting for many years.
Right.
This included a sort of public training at the hands of Orion. Scott regarded his becoming a new god as the loss of his identity. So, like, he would have to die and be reborn and take a new name, and they would just see him as a god. And he was like, I don't want to do any of that. I just kind of want to be me.
But he has to do it if he wants to keep the power.
It gets to the point where they're like, no, you've held off on this way too long. Like, you absolutely need to do this now. You're the only person, by the way, with these powers. So, just then, soldiers from Apocalypse and Granny Goodness kill Barda by spearing her through the back and chest. Barda's soul goes to Hades, and Scott ventured there, but she doesn't want to leave, and so he gets kicked out. Scott now realises that he needs his powers, his god powers, to free Barda. So he submits and agrees to do the whole thing. Not because he wants the power, but because it's the only way that he can bring Barda back.
Jesus. But Barda doesn't want to come back, right?
It's like her soul doesn't it's a strange situation. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. It's strange.
He submitted, and it was infused with great energy. He now possessed a thing called the Alpha Energy. His power restores Barda fully to life, and in doing so he realised that godhood meant deciding who lived and died, even more so.
Whoa, it's a lot of pressure to put on the man.
Now he's like great power, great responsibility. He even revives the warriors who just died in battle that for him. So he just revives everybody, and he's just like, everyone's alive again.
So there's no threat anymore.
No. So, however, I want to finish on the last story. Is that there's a story called Death of the New Gods, in which a mysterious god killer was striking down the gods of the fourth world. And in the story, turns out Big Barda is killed. So he comes home and Big Barda's dead. She gets hit with this god killer.
Stuffed in the fridge.
Stuffed in a fridge. Actually, it does happen in the kitchen, so close enough to the fridge. After Barda's funeral, Scott becomes increasingly unstable, changing his uniform to a darker version. He flings himself into the investigation conducted by Superman. He suspects everybody. He's like, you're probably the reason why. He's willing to kill anybody at any given notice. He finds the corpses of a group called the Forever People. He brings them all, he resurrects their lifeless bodies back to life, and then tries to determine their murderer, but they won't tell him. So he brings all these dead bodies back to life, like, who killed you? Because whoever killed you killed Barda, and none of them will tell him. And they went, what do we want to tell your mother? Tell her to go suck a lemon. They weren't going to tell her anything. So finally they figure out it was a villain, otherwise known as the Infinity Man, who was doing all of this, and Scott unleashed the anti-life equation to destroy the Infinity Man. And within all this, they finally defeat him, but he uses all of the powers that he has. He brings everyone back to life. He kills everybody. He finally kills the Infinity Man using all of his powers, and he's broken by the knowledge that he violates every one of his principles to avenge his wife. And so he allows the source and anti-life entity to just kill him. He just is like,
I'm done.
This is too much power. I can't have this.
So he recognizes, like, no one should have this power.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that is actually how he is killed in comic books. Now, he's resurrected later on, but I don't want to get into that. But that is like his end, is that he gets so much power that he just doesn't want to do anything with it.
He seems like one of the most well-adjusted men in comics.
For a terrible childhood. It's just a really nice person. His powers and abilities, by the way, Shaun, 6 pages.
Jesus Christ.
New God physiology. He's immortal. Superhuman strength, speed, durability, agility. He wields a cosmic energy field called the Alpha Effects. The effect allows him to transverse through time and space, heal anything, fully restore anything, control energy to a boundless degree. He can do anything physically. He can
do anything physically.
He can do anything in the world. Any power that you've ever thought of, he can do. He can go through time and space.
Of course he can.
Reverse time, fast forward time, bring anybody back to life. He can't be killed.
Any weaknesses on Mr. Miracle?
Weaknesses.
His love of his wife?
He does have a love of a wife, yes. His weakness, the only weakness he has is that he's sometimes unfamiliar with earthly technology.
Right. Well, okay, that's how we get him. We get him to stick his hand in a socket or something.
He is a pacifist and he never uses violence. However, he's one of the best fighters in all of DC, in that his skills are the same as Black Canary. So hand-to-hand combat, he is one of the best, but he just never uses it because he has no need.
Yeah, I guess he's not getting in a fist fight.
You're not going to get close to him. He just sends you through time and space.
Yeah, he'll just turn you into a baby.
Yeah,
but I like that he chooses to be a pacifist. That's fun.
Yeah, I mean, acrobatics, he's impossible to just get. He's the greatest acrobat. Indomitable will, he's the only person to ever survive Darkseid's apocalypse without being taken over, or one of the only few for all of his life. He's able to resist using the anti-life equation even after knowing how to do it. And he's got a genius level intellect. So that's pretty good.
Pretty alright, I guess. It's not the strongest.
He's just a god. Jack Kirby created a whole race of people called the New Gods, and he is one of the New Gods, and he just has every power.
I mean, it's perfectly Jack Kirby. I also like the idea of him creating a character who's really talented at what he does, but just wants a quiet life where he's happy.
Has no interest. And Barda, by the way, also a complete and utter badass. Also a god. So
she on the list?
She's actually on the list as well. She's a warrior god. So she would absolutely fuck you up in any way. So he's a complete pacifist, and Barda will murder anyone who comes near them.
I mean, that's a great combo. That's the he asked for no pickles. That's the...
Yeah, she's going in to tell the waitress what he ordered.
That's a lot of character to cover, but man, he's really cool, and it's such a cool character design as well.
The greatest escape artist on all of the planet. The only person that comes close is Batman, apparently. Batman's the only person who's close to it, but I think that's a vague thing to be oh, Batman's so great, the usual. But I think Batman, it's a very, very, very distant second.
That's the thing. I love it. It's Batman kinda comes close is the bar.
Yeah, he's a god, so not really. But he kinda comes close, I suppose.
I guess on a good day, soaking wet.
Yeah. So that's my report on Mr. Miracle, Shaun.
Very well done, Conor. Would you like me to take us out?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Thank you everyone for listening to this episode of Hero or Zero. We'll be back on Monday with the Heroes for Hire podcast, the main show, and next week with another episode of Hero or Zero. Big thank you to all of our patrons, patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast. Link to that is in the description. Supporting us over there helps us keep making the show. It's also a great way to suggest characters for Hero or Zero. Send all of those in to log added to the list and we'll get to them eventually. There is also a merch store, heroesforhire.ie/shop. Twitter is @HeroesForHirePod, the 4 is the number 4. Facebook is Detective Diddleman's Discussion Group. Instagram is Heroes for Hire Podcast. And the best way to ever help out the show is to tell one human being that we exist.
Just a one, please.
And I think that's about it, Conor.
I think so. So I've been Conor Lawler.
I've been Shaun Meehan.
I shall see you all next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.